my guest is here. Hi, Wayne. I see you in the background. So do you mind if I bring you up? There we
Fine,
go.
yes.
Hello.
Hi,
Hi, Wayne. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. And
Fantastic.
your name is Rosie. Hi, Rosie.
Rosie Convoy is my media name, but my real name is Judy. But we'll go with Rosie
Judy.
Convoy. Yeah, that's kind
Okay.
of the channel. Yeah. I combine
Well,
two of my actually three of my favorite things. I love roses, I love convoys, and I love the Lord of the Rings. And Rosie Cotton is of course one of the characters that Samwise Gamgee marries at the end of Lord of the Rings, like the Return of the King. He Samwise Gamgee marries Rosie Cotton. So
yes,
so for me, Rosie Convoy was the next best thing. So welcome, Wayne. It's so
thank
good.
you. And I love your little your workup of how you came to the name. That's gorgeous.
Well, and it just came organically. Kind of just tried a few things, but yeah, Rosie and then Convoy. Because who doesn't love a convoy? Were you part of the convoy at all, or were you in Wellington?
I was one of the passengers who sat in my seat and didn't actually get down to the main event. I was busy in Auckland around the convoy moving in and out, but no, I wasn't part of the main Wellington event. And recently, I've been engaged in a number of different activist-based activities. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching a couple of the videos on YouTube about the Auckland teachers protest, and
Yes, that was fantastic.
what I found most interesting were some of the comments that people had. So
Yeah.
if you want to kind of tell us, I understand you're a teacher.
Yeah. So the reason that I was there was I was actually in town at another appointment, unaware that the march was even going to take place. So I was just Johnny on the spot. But as a teacher, obviously, I realised what was going on. So I stood there and took a good vantage point and filmed it all and listened to what people had to say and generally just lend my one-person army to the movement of thousands.
The one-person army to a movement of thousands. So so you were just in the area and you saw there was a teachers protest, and because you're a teacher, you joined it, or because you just naturally drawn to protest?
I think at this point, for all of those who are actively sort of demonstrating against global oppression, if you want to put it that way, it wouldn't have mattered what march it was. I probably would have stopped, but this one particularly interested me because, yeah, I really felt for all those people passing by. I've got a background in teaching in Māori-based training facilities in the mid-90s, and we were developing what we have over here as the New Zealand qualifications framework for educating Māori across the board, young adults to older. And as part of that process, I found out quite a bit about what's not going right with our education system. So it's just come to a head some 20 or 30 years later, and I've got a little bit more experience, so I like to think I can say something, can add something to the debate.
Well, that was one of the things I noticed with the comments. A lot of the comments were from Kiwis who were saying that the education system had failed them. And
well, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we're very fortunate, as in our youth, really, as a country. We're very young. We're largely populated by those that moved around in the 17th and 18th century and arrived here on the shores and mixed with the indigenous Māori and Moriori and a few of the other native indigenous peoples here. And so we weren't really big enough to develop into a highly globally focused people. We're just a backwater, simple-minded farming community with very, very strong basic values of pioneering skill and ability that has been passed to us from our forefathers.
Mm-hmm.
So we've woken up some 200 years later, educated into a mindset that wasn't even the mindset of our own culture, so to speak. It was an established culture that came already in a book, was put into our education system through our schools, and we were all indoctrinated.
And where did this education come from? Is it just like a Commonwealth thing? Is that something that we all, like as Canadian, Kiwis, and
I think
Aussies?
I think if you look into the education systems throughout the colonies, so India, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and so on, and all those Commonwealth countries, you find that it's based on English, Westminster. How would you put it? It's hard to explain. It's certainly not a culture of a pioneering community. It's an instituted system of philosophies developed around very old school 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th century education institutes. So if you looked deeply into the English colleges, universities, you would find the foundations of our education system within it.
Well, yeah, we know they've the whole the globalist thing. They've been around for decades. Like they've been kind of flying under the radar, and so
Yeah, exactly.
we're seeing how it's manifest in our public education.
Yeah, well, I think the terrible realization that many are having is that we've always assumed as we grew up that things weren't right, or not assumed, but we knew that they weren't right. And the assumption was that those in the government education system that created the standards and the foundation for our education were intending to inform us of something that was valuable in our lives and in our everyday needs to communicate to each other, to develop skills that allowed us to work together and create an economy. But the fact of the matter is, and this is the scary realization, is that was never the intention. Our school education system does not intend to educate us into being genuine to what we innately know is right and wrong. They educate us into a system of absorbing certain aspects of a political system, a social system, an economic system, etc., that we've all come to assume is what we need.
Education. But
yeah.
it's really brainwashing, isn't it?
It's not. You can't really call it wishy-washy because it looks perfect. It's like it tells you how to read and write. You get all the basic R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, as they used to say. And then on top of that, you get social studies and you get the political aspect, and it goes on down into industry training and so forth, and the best way to screw a screw into a hole, and how to tune a car, etc., etc., etc. And so it looks fantastic. But the purpose of all that is to indoctrinate you into following a process that simply allows you to contribute your time, energy, and enthusiasm into developing wealth for a governing system who is supported and controlled by a corporate system, which is backed up by a legal system and enforced by security. and armies and so forth. And that's simply what they've done.
Welcome, Jason. So I guess we have to figure out the time change, hey? Because,
Yeah, and
11
I'm assuming probably New Zealand has had a change of time as well with daylight savings. So what time exactly is it there right now, Wayne?
So yeah, I popped in early. I was here 10 minutes ago. I just wanted to find out what the setup was because I didn't know, in fact, whether it was a Zoom or it seems to be a different streaming system. So in that process, Rosie introduced herself to me and we've had a conversation for the last 10 minutes.
Yes, yes, I've been listening. I've been listening. I've been trying. I have this new brand spanking monitor set up on YouTube, and that's where I'm going to supposed to be showing my my logos and stuff and some stuff behind me, but for some strange reason, probably
Right.
unknown to me, but maybe known to Ardern or Trudeau. Now it won't let me search my own channel on YouTube.
Oh my God.
On the smart TV, and yet I've been using it all week. I've been using it all week. Just hit at New Zealand State of the Nation.
Yeah.
Hit it. Now the search results are some kind of graphic sexual content.
Oh, how very
Oh wow.
Out of all the YouTube,
well, luckily for me, I'm an unknown quantity, so they don't mess with me.
Just so you know, Wayne, we kind of have like an ongoing joke. The very first show that we did was, I believe it was the night that Jacinda resigned.
Right.
And we all sorts of technical difficulties, and Jason was a little bit late showing up because he had like fallen asleep and he like
I'd been up all night. I'd been up all night. Yeah.
he was being human. Yeah.
We blame all of these things on Ardern. So any tech, we blame Ardern and Trudeau. Anything that happens, like the fact that I started an hour early, so the whole time change and everything, daylight savings time, we're just gonna blame Ardern and Trudeau. It's just our go-to now. So it's like now you're in on the joke.
Look, yeah, absolutely, and I'd agree with that joke too because they've got very wide shoulders and they can handle it.
That's right, they can. So let me just go for an example. So YouTube opens up behind me. Now it's not even connecting at all. So there you go. So I seem to get plagued with this sort of thing. But at least anyway, at least this works this time. Last time I couldn't even get audio from it. So now I'm
nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Meet you, Jason. Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to your conversation actually, and I've got a couple of. I'm on your Facebook now, and there's a couple of videos that you took. So there's a couple of 30-second videos. So for our international audience, if you share screen, we can just show these video examples. They're very short. They're only about 30 seconds long, whereas some of the other ones are about 2 minutes long. So this will give people an idea in the international audience because we do have a lot of Canadians come online, so they can have a listen. Put that down a bit. It's not supposed to be there like that. But anyway, okay, let's have a look. And just give me a nod, Rosie, make sure you can hear the audio on this. Very quiet for a protest. Very quiet indeed.
This is just the very beginning. And so all the people are backed up behind this front black vehicle, which is the lead vehicle. And they're just about to roll over the start line.
All right, very good. Let me pause that. So is that one there? So they're just getting prepped there.
They're only just. Yes, so this is towards the end of the march. Some, I would say, probably a mile and a half away from the beginning. and it ended at a local park, which you can just see on the corner there.
How many people do you think were in attendance on this?
They certainly made a lot of good noises.
How many people do you think were in attendance?
Well, I filmed the whole of the passing from across the start line, and I filmed for, I think, 45 minutes, something in that area, 45 minutes to an hour, of people slowly walking past at this pace. So I actually posted that whole clip on YouTube, and it can be found on YouTube.
That's quite a big gathering then for 45 minutes. That's a fairly brisk. Well, it's not so. Yeah, it's a good pace. It's a reasonable pace. So for 45 minutes from to come streaming in like that, that would be great. It would have been wonderful to have them at Wellington.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'd say that they were in their thousands for sure. If you realise that it's 4 lanes across, they walk pretty much up, down, at least 3 lanes to 4 lanes across, and they were very, very closely packed. And there were that many of them that they had to stop intermittently to let the others get ahead so that they could then follow up. So, yeah, it was quite a group of people.
What was their main demand?
Well, they were varied. What amazed me was the amount of placards. Every single person had one, so it was well organised by the Parents, the Parents and Pupils Teachers Association, PPTA. So they organised it throughout Auckland schools in the larger area, and Auckland is a rather large area. So there were children right through to grandparents.
That's a beautiful city. That's Auckland.
So that's in the centre, main street of our Auckland city, with the Sky Tower in the background. And you can see the pace that they're walking at.
I don't see any.
It kind of reminds me of where are you now? Are you in Ontario?
Yeah.
Is it Ontario
Rosie
that has a tower like this?
Yeah. We've had a couple of protests that, you know.
It sort of just reminds me of the whole. I can't. How many big cities are there? There's Ontario. What's the capital city? Ottawa, and what's the other one?
There's Toronto. Toronto is close by.
I think it might be Ottawa. I don't know. One of the Auckland cities, and I think it's the one closest to Seattle. The one closest to
Toronto has the tower, the CN Tower.
Toronto. So there you go, Toronto. It'll be Toronto.
I'm an hour away from Toronto right now. So yeah, that's
right.
That's what it reminds me.
Yeah. Check your audio, Rosie. Check your audio. Are you covering your mic?
Nope. I'm running my Jeep though because I've been using the battery for over an hour. So. Okay,
you've just got a technical. You've got a technical difficulty with your audio. I can hear you, but it's muffled. Okay, very cool. So that's that. Those are the footages. I mean, I could bring up the YouTube channel a bit later, but there's some very interesting photographs. Do you mind if I just share the photographs?
The slums of our big cities are being torn down. It's an end to dirt and noise and overcrowding.
They call that a slum? Call that a slum. That is a pristine-looking city. They should try Philadelphia.
That's a pretty old clip of England.
There'll be an end to the warmth and comfort of a community where everybody knows everybody else.
I just go over these photographs. Oh, sort of photos. See we are. Oh, sorry, not you.
Nerd.
So you've taken some photos, and you're my only source of photographs. So here
yeah.
we have some photographs.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Right.
Yeah,
Now,
so you can see.
Yep, go ahead. Please explain.
Sorry, you can see there how wide across the road it is full of people, and you can also notice that very multicultural over here. We, as I was saying earlier to Rosie, we're a very young country. So what you're basically looking at is a very, very homogenized culture, both in personality and in behavior. So there's various banners from different schools, different groups who all banded together, to voice their concerns about the education of our young. Right at this very moment, we have our government pushing through legislation along the lines of the woke movement globally to allow certain what the public calls indiscreet or discretionary values to enter into our education curriculum on the subject of sexual preference, sexual behaviour, and so forth. And a lot of these signs you will notice are referring to leave our children alone. We Kiwis have got pretty good manners. Most of them were expressed their concerns in decent terms. A few, I'm sure, had other ways of expressing it, because we find it quite vulgar what the government is trying to instigate in terms of curriculum change for 5-year-olds on upwards into the teens. It's just shocking, and it really strikes at the foundation of our future culture of indoctrinated adults whose behaviours, if they were to follow these sorts of tenets, would end up being quite confused and very, very mixed up about themselves and the other members of their communities. Pardon?
Am I still garbled? Because yeah, the same thing is happening in Canada here. The exact same playbook is being played out here in Canada, and honestly, it's like it's meant to like distract from bigger issues. Because if you're squabbling about smaller things like, you know, pronouns, you know, you tend to forget that you're not getting an education.
Yes, I believe that it's just in the nature of humans to find what immediately strikes them as being wrong, and then we start debating and discussing. But really, on the part of those who are perpetrating this across the world globally, their tactic is just to overwhelm us with things that are not correct. I mean, if you want to really confuse a child, or what you consider to be a child, all you have to do is rant and rave, and they'll soon lose the plot. Well, that's what the bulk of communities and social orders are doing globally. They're losing the plot. They're arguing with each other. They're arguing with their governments. They're arguing with their landlords. They're arguing with their wives. That's their tactic.
That's right. They have us fighting a social war so that we forget about the class war.
Exactly. That's on the face of it what they're doing, and behind the scenes, the real crimes are huge. We would have to look towards the discussion on what's happening between the Ukraine, America, Russia, China, and the UK. There lies the true threat to the planet. It's not what's going on in our schools, but on the ground, we have to stand in front of those activities we can actually contribute to. I'm not going to throw myself into the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, that's quite a segue, that one. But taking a look at these pictures,
there's been money that's been sent to Ukraine from Canada. There's quite a lot of money, and it's still like everyone's Well, honestly, a couple of weeks ago, like Trudeau even like got, well, or his body double got really, really upset that somebody was telling him to F off. And he was saying, this is a night for Ukraine. And he got very livid and his puffy face got really red. But no, it's all just like, it's meant to distract us from the bigger issue,
Absolutely, and it does. I mean, this lovely poster, excuse me, Rosie, this lovely poster here, one of the larger ones, it says it all. What does it say? It says, make our teachers stay. Give them the right,
pay and
pay and conditions.
Staffing, pay, and conditions.
Staffing, pay, and conditions. And as a teacher, that applied 30 years ago. It was terrible. I was a teacher of adult students ranging from an age of 17 to older 7. At the time, I was in my 40s, early 40s, I think, or late 30s, and we were basically worked to the bone to provide an education. My industry was screen printing, and I was also a literacy and numeracy tutor. But to provide those students with skills and knowledge, and we were basically given a pittance to do it upon. That was just the pay. So you were working for love. And then you couldn't stay there because you can't stay in that game. I burnt out in 4 years, fundamentally. And you can't stay that long if you are not supported by the systems that are supposed to provide you with, as a teacher, all the support systems required for a class of children. Now, I was in what we call a private training establishment, and our numbers in the class were relatively low. Now, in the public schools over here, you've got 35 to 40 children at times to one teacher. Now, that's just ludicrous. You can only give them a smattering of the butter on that slice of bread. I mean, there's too big a piece of bread and too little butter.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's another Tolkien quote. That's another quote from Lord of the Rings, right?
Oh, I didn't know that, but yeah, it'll probably apply to them too.
Yeah, that's something Bilbo Baggins said. He said he feels thin, sort of stretched, like butter.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
This one here, this particular picture here is very telling, and you can see that the block has moved. Like there's obviously different groups in blocks, and this is one very clear block. Okay.
Yes.
So we have some very heavy signaling here, and this would be does not represent the entire group, because as you say, 45 minutes. There's thousands, but there's definitely in a block, but this seems to be at the beginning. Is this the beginning?
Yes, and I noticed that the gathering at the beginning, as always, is usually very, very keen and want to get their point across. And then as you get right to the end, it's almost the stragglers who are hiding behind their own banners. It's the perfect worm. The head's up front and the body just follows with all the legs, and then the tail just disappears. But as it was going
here.
Yes, well, this was the main banner at the front. So that's the Parent and Pupils Teachers Association banner, who were carrying forward the whole intention of the group.
Yeah, I'm pretty. This is Unite. I've lived in China, and I've also lived. I live in Vietnam now, so I've lived in 2 communist countries, communist socialist countries. So this is definitely socialism here, right there, at its core. Even the right colors, the yellow and the red, and the fist, which is anti-fascist. So that's one group represented there. You've got the rainbows there. This is the LGBTQ crowd.
BGT, yes.
Yep, represented there. And I noticed that none of them say New Zealand. They all say Aotearoa, which is another representation of a group there that want to change the name of the country. So right at the front there, you've got a very mixed bag. You've got you can get an idea. I mean, if a person understands symbolism, leaders are and what they typically represent. But whether or not this PPTA group is trying to walk the line. You've got to walk the line. I'm a teacher still, so I do understand that they have to walk a line because you have to be accommodating to all parties because it's a liberal democracy, as they call it, a liberal democracy.
Yeah.
So,
As a Canadian, I have to jump in here. So can you explain to the Canadians what tamariki is?
Yeah, so tamariki is just it just means child. It means children. It's the children of the hapu. The hapu is the whole community. So our tamariki is everybody's children. It looks like you're flicking through my artwork as well. But so the tamariki are why we do all this, because we recognise as Māori and as Kiwis that it's our children that we want educated, and we want them to be where we are today, but with a much, much better set of information inside their heads.
Right.
So that they can
and the skills that they need to face whatever life is going to throw at them.
Well, the skills they need are the skills to communicate with each other to create the world that they desire. But what we've been taught are the skills that our government needs us to know so that we can get a job to pay their taxes and they can tell us how that tomorrow is going to look. It's crazy. It's create a future by default. It's already set. You don't get to create it.
Right. Yeah.
So if I could ask, oh, sorry, Rosie, go ahead.
Oh no, I just saw one of the comments. So yeah, tamariki is everyone's kids.
Yeah, so that's the children. As Jason was saying earlier, the cross section was really diverse, and when and if you get a chance to watch the whole clip of them crossing that start line, you'll notice. As Jason did, that certain groups come forward and they were uniforms, that have particular banners with certain logos and certain uniforms. But even in that state, they were homogenized into the whole group. They didn't stand out. There was no pick me type mentality or gesturing. It was all just one fluid movement of disenfranchised people who want to see a new education system, not an adjustment, not a change, not new legislation. We want a new system. We would love to see the whole structure stripped down, besides the fact that we'd like this done to government as well. But the school system, the education system, stripped right back to nuts and bolts. Even if we went back to the 1930s, we would have a better chance than we have today in the 2000s.
Go ahead.
And in that way, give everybody who has skill, ability, a chance to contribute to a new style of education mainstream.
How much do you think the average primary school teacher makes per year now?
Look, I have never taught at public level, so I'm not too sure on those facts, but I'm sure you could Google it. But I would be surprised if they're earning more than $40,000 a year. Kiwi dollars.
And the hours they do are quite a lot. A friend of mine was a teacher back in New Zealand when I was a university student. Well, it was actually a friend of her mother. She was an art teacher, and the hours were horrendous. I mean, she'd go to school all day and then come home, and then she'd be doing grading and marking up until about 9 o'clock at night.
Absolutely, and that's standard across the world. It's not just here. Because the same system applies everywhere. If you look at the private training establishments or alternative school systems, homeschooling, you'll start to see a better return for the teacher in terms of resourcing, income, and quality of curriculum. And I think that's where the movement will come from in terms of re-establishing a baseline public school system. It's a little way off in my estimation, but right now parents are opting out of the public system and will continue to move away in droves, I would suggest, and educate outside of that closed system. And that
Absolutely.
will lead then on to private establishments being set up and run as businesses that aren't in the business of making money or indoctrinating people. They're in the business of educating.
Yes. Well, I worked on a show called La Buena Vida back in 2010, and it was a community show that I made for Triangle TV and the Sky Channel. And one of the stories that we covered was a VEX. It's a autonomous robot programming competition, and it was a gaming competition for kids as well. And they had all the top schools involved in it, all the brightest kids in programming and all that, from college level and university level. And after the entire competition, it was a 3-day competition. The winning team was a bunch of kids that had been homeschooled.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. They'd never gone to school in their life, and they won the entire competition.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. And you know what happened then? Then they went on to, I think it was Dallas, Texas, for the international competition, and they went up against Harvard, Oxford, all the biggest schools in the world, and won that competition as well.
Good on them. That's exactly my point. And I think the average mum and dad who hasn't been sold, this bill of goods that the government keeps pushing, are aware that their children are not getting what they deserve to get from a modern education system in the year 2023, where we've long since split the atom and sent man to the moon. They're just not getting basic grassroots education that they need.
And here they are. You know what? I'm going to. There's a little interview I've got here. I'm just going to flip this interview over.
Oh, sorry, Jason.
That's okay. Sorry, I'm just going to flick this interview over. Could you just stop my screen share and then re-accept it when I'm ready? Just 1 minute.
I'm not sure how to do it, but I'll give it a go. That's
okay. No. This is for Rosie. Rosie's going to stop my screen share. But I've got these kids here. This is a video I made back in the days. Let me go back and reshare the screen now. So stop the screen share and then present again. And then I'm going to share the screen again. And I'm going to pick it up. And we can watch the video. But I'll just scuttle through to the actual interview part of it. The 2009 VEX launch party. So that was 2009, not 2010. Okay, there's a set of 3 videos on this, I believe, but we'll share that one. It's 6 minutes long in there. I think there are 3 different stories, but we're going down to here. Here we are.
Okay, just let me know when, and I'm poised and ready. I'll just.
Okay, I'm ready to share now. And I'll just play it from and this is what homeschooling can do against the world's top schools. Make that wide. Where the audio's gone on that.
No, I can hear you.
Just give me a momento. Un momento.
No, the audio was working just fine, Jason.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, we had it at our end, yeah. Jason, can you just outline what we're looking at?
Right, this is the 2009 VEX autonomous robot competition. And
Yes.
some of them were programmed, some of them were getting towards autonomous, meaning that they designed the computer, they designed the robots to fight, and they were playing in games to defeat each other. It's a bit of a nerdy type thing, but this is the national competition with all the schools in New Zealand competing for the top position at college, New Zealand College and New Zealand University. And coming up in just a sec will be the interview that we did with the kids that were homeschooled, and they eventually did win this competition.
There's always that thought in the back of my mind, like, if we lose, it's pretty much totally screwed up.
Or if the programming stuff's up, because we've the programming stuff's up before, so we're just always worried about, what if it stuffs it up? What if it doesn't work?
These are the winners.
Hard being like home because we don't meet that often, and it's just hard to get time to build the robot and stuff.
This is what I think education should be about, not really about gender. But
No, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Snap, Rosie. The thing too with Kiwis is they have their fun outside of school. They've learned this themselves, taught themselves.
yeah, that's right. You know, and these kids are going to come back, I think, in a minute. But yeah, this is what I would call, you know, proper education, languages, life skills. I don't see the importance of some of this other stuff. And I actually have a big Facebook group for my primary school. I said that, and so we have all the stuff from our local primary school in there, and I've quietly talked to some of the staff members, and some are very supportive, and some have their own opinion, but they're not willing to speak out about it, to be honest. And I find like a lot of crickets when I confront some of these issues. I get a lot of crickets. You know, the sound of the cricket, chip, chip, chip. Nobody wants to talk about it. So,
nowadays, when it comes to like anything that has to do with technology.
okay, they've won the competition. That's the team there. So there you go. You can stop sharing there, Rosie. Yep, you can stop sharing. Perfect. Yeah, so there you go. That's an example of what homeschooling can do. And that was in 2009. So imagine what they're not learning now when they're focusing too much. And I guess some teachers are getting really frustrated with it. And I'm still a teacher. And we cover them. I mean, that's why I didn't opt in to being a public primary school teacher or intermediate school teacher in New Zealand. I had seriously considered going to Teachers Training College, and I ended up opting to become an ESL teacher abroad because of the pay conditions, the work conditions, being able to leave after a year, being able to leave easily and get another job quite easily, and working abroad also, you're not subject to inflation. It's really like a de-inflationary situation where it goes a long way. But of course, if you live in Japan or Korea, South Korea, then you're kind of subject to the same type of living issues with inflation. But now I'd worked in China, and I work in Vietnam now, and for the same salary, I've kind of like tripled my wealth because I've gone into a de-inflationary economy, So it's kind of like I earn the same amount of money, but it goes 3 times further because of the fact that it's a growing country. They call it a third world country or a developing country, that sort of thing. So I mean, people have these options, but of course, if everybody left the teaching profession and became an ESL teacher, we'd be overrun with teachers, and nobody would be actually learning anything in New Zealand. And probably homeschool would be the pioneering field, maybe.
Jason, there's a request for your email, so if you can drop it in the comments.
Yep, sure.
And just going back to the clip you showed of the Kiwi boys and girls, what that showed me was something that I see every day, which is a bunch of Kiwis who are excelling at being pioneers. And I was saying to Rosie earlier, we have this pioneering spirit in our country, and it's in our blood and it's in our psyche. In days of old was the number 8 gauge wire fence mentality, which was we can do anything with what we've got. But sadly, as you've said, Jason, what happens is we grow naturally through that process and find that our own environment doesn't suffice to feed us. We leave the country and we go overseas, and those skills are snapped up. Kiwis are just valued extremely well overseas for their particular skill, which is you can pretty much throw us into any puddle and we can swim because of that ability. So we're not going away. In other words, we're not vanishing. We're actually growing, but at the moment, with this global oppression that has bubbled to the surface, we're given our first opportunity to actually consolidate and regroup and look at those major issues that we face in terms of our social and economic, educational, all the fundamentals that we've provided a government for to bring to fruition, and we've found that they don't do it. And worse than that, that they never intended to do it. And that seems to be the realization, that sort of light bulb moment that's happening for many Kiwis is we don't need to ask the question, but don't they understand? Well, why aren't they doing this? We simply now know that they never intended to, and we're very much a very captured audience, and we've had enough.
A captured
So
state,
hence,
I call it. I call
yeah,
New Zealand
we
a
are.
captured state. Yeah.
It is. We're captured in a state of New Zealand. Yeah, that's right. And
You're
all those,
just
all that-
remember, if knowledge is power, and they don't want us to have power, then why would they give us knowledge?
Yeah, I mean, they want to give us their knowledge. They want our knowledge to be their knowledge, and that's what indoctrination is. But the Kiwi spirit is based on a pioneering spirit, and that is the ability to look for oneself, determine what the resources are and how best to utilize them to get the result. And we know now that the result that our government wants is not what we want. So we'll just flip them over and drive them off the cliff. I mean, I'm being flippant, but we've had enough. There's quite a big movement and a lot of groups on the ground right now who are organising, gathering together, like yourselves, talking about it, debating, also organising in terms of actual activities to address what has just transpired in the last 2 to 3 years through the government and the pandemic as the point of entry into flipping them over and having them investigated. And that'll lead to eventually a complete change in government in this country. And that includes the education system. That includes any sector that you might care to investigate. There's going to be some changes over here in New Zealand.
That's
There was a question. Sorry, Rosie. There was a question by 6-3. He asked me if I had arranged the competition. No, I was covering it for our show. It was a showpiece, but we covered it for 3 days. And the guy who arranged it was Chris. They used to call it Mr. Robot or something. He's I'm just googling it for a minute. He's a filmmaker, famous New Zealand filmmaker. Well, he's an engineer. He works in robotics, and he made the pigs for Babe.
For Babe,
Yeah, I'm just trying to catch his last name. I actually did some things. He was like Mr. Robot or something. I can't remember his family name off this point because it was 2009. So I'll come up with the answer. He was an engineer. He was a robot, and he engineered robots. And like Jackie Chan made a movie with a robotic shark and all that kind of stuff. So he did stuff like that. They're all robots, but I just can't remember his family name. He had a TV show called Mr.
Something
Let's Get
rather.
Inventing. I think it was Let's Get Inventing.
Is this a Kiwi guy or?
Yeah, he's a Kiwi guy. Let's Get Inventing.
I wouldn't be surprised if he has something to do with Weta Workshops. The guys who did Lord of the Rings today, they're all the smart ones like that with the animatronics and all the rest of it.
Right?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean it's quite interesting because this is 2009 and they were talking about it. Chris Stapp, Clinton Render. Now it's a different show. It was a different show. I've got to really go back into my knowledge base and try and remember. But he's an older chap.
Well,
He's an older.
Well, for your memory loss, we'll just blame Ardern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy, she's in trouble, that girl.
Yeah, I did do some side work with him. I did some filming with him for the second year as well. I just got to go back and it's not Let's Get Inventing, but it's something like that. It was one of those inventing shows, and his first name was Chris, and I can't remember his family name just right off the top of my head. But yeah. But yeah, and now all of that work, a lot of that work has been taken out by CGI, and this is the point I was actually
yeah.
that a lot of that work is now moved to CGI and stuff. But when I sit, because I went to film school myself, and I do like to watch I do like to watch the making of this and the making of that, and like I look at the Marvel series and how they do all their CGI and all their props and stuff.
Lord.
So yeah, so they still actually have robots. They still actually have machines.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just sort of props just to give the actor something to look at, or just to make the movement more fluid. Like instead of like if they're riding a gigantic pig, then they have like one of those buff. Rodeo bucking. Yeah, something like that, just to give the feel, just to get the motion. So it does still exist, but just not in such a graphic way. And I really wish that filmmaking in the future would go back to its roots and actually start using like real animatronics.
Yeah. I think the future does. I think the future bodes well for that because of the work they're doing in AI and robotics. They're just keeping it off the mainstream at the moment because there's a lot of let's just say groups who want to keep that pretty much themselves while they use it for nefarious means.
Oh yeah.
Like making really bad B movies or woke.
No, like making very, very dangerous weapons.
Yeah, that's true.
Good intentions. It all starts off with very good intentions, but it does get yeah. I know what you mean. I know the direction you're going in there. It starts off with good intentions. It's really convenient. It's really going to help people, and then it end up getting used as a weapon of sorts. And in some cases, like I was watching a commercial in Japan when I was living and teaching in Japan. Chris Chitty, that's his name. Boom, there he is. Chris Chitty, found him. So he's in a website. His partner is Greg, and partners Chris Chitty and Matt Ward founded Robo Technology in 1991. He's actually a New Zealander, but it's an Australian company. Yeah, and it's called McKeeWildThings.com. I'll drop that in for people who are interested in this sort of thing. So yeah, Mr. Chitty, Chitty Bang Bang. I keep remembering this now, Mr. Chitty.
I know, it's exactly what went to my head.
Yeah. So I'm going to drop that link in if someone's interested in that, because I think filmmakers should really go back into it and start using animatronics again. CGI, I mean, it's all really good and stuff, but the storytelling, there's no story. It's all so convenient now, isn't it? It's all so convenient, and it's just there's no story. in it. So
Yeah,
Um,
I think they should bring back the puppets from Joe 90 and Thunderbirds as well.
Like,
I've got a
come
new
on.
share tab. Come on, we got to show this before he has to run off, because he's going to run off pretty soon to another meeting. But let's close this on a
Sure.
really interesting level to show what people can really do if they have a really good education.
Let's go for it.
So I'm sharing this animatronics page.
Oh,
When you're ready there, Rosie.
Yep, well, here we are. Let's do it. Oh, wow.
So this is pretty groovy. So you remember all these animals?
Yeah.
You know? So the Gremlins. I mean, I remember the Gremlins. That was fantastic.
Yes, I remember that. That's right.
Beetlejuice.
That's going back.
Yeah, Jaws, sharks. I remember going to Universal Studios when I was a wee lad, probably about 7 or 8 years old, and I went on the Jaws ride, and it really terrified me. Absolutely terrified me. It was so realistic. Even I'd already been I was sold into it through the movie, and then I got to Universal Studios in the US, and boom, there was Jaws coming straight at me. And he jumps out of the water, and then and the bridge crashes, and I was terrified. That was fantastic. And I also worked on stage. I had the opportunity to be one of the guests that were pulled out on stage and work with the dog from Little House on the Prairie. It was a show dog, trick dog.
Right.
But here are these animals that Chris Chitty worked on, the sheep and all that.
Yeah, the sheep from Babe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob Ram you.
Look how complex this stuff is. Really complex machinery, but engineering. These are the sharks from the movie Jackie Chan. There you go. Yeah, the Jackie Chan movie. Yeah, First Strike. So so they got involved in all of this kind of stuff. So this. I think what you're getting at is probably something like this. Cancel that. Something like this now, which is started off as animatronics, is now being used for surveillance.
Oh,
exactly.
By DARPA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't know. I think that's what Wayne was getting at when using it for nefarious purposes. I mean, you could have some of these stuff that they look so realistic. They could have surveillance systems in them. They're remote controlled. Like, I just read a story that there was a drug plane landed in Australia, but you don't need a drug plane. All you need is one of these robotic sharks and load it up with cocaine or something like that. And just move it to the border.
Or like a grizzly bear, because there's apparently a movie Grizzly on Cocaine or something out there.
But amazing stuff. So this is the future. Would have been bright for all of these kids that studied all this engineering, but now they've had to sit down and learn how to code and play with CGI and that sort of thing. But I love the stuff, but it's not real for me. It's not fantastic storytelling. It's just getting by, and a lot of these movies are flopping, even though they're big on CGI and they're big on effects, because they have a very woke storyline, and they're trashing the franchises. And this is just my opinion on the media world. They're trashing the franchises for the woke agenda.
You go broke.
Yeah, go work, go broke. So there you go. So we're taking it back. Here's another one.
And you know what?
Taking it back.
Movies. So like you watch a movie that inspired you as a kid, because that's how Peter Jackson started. He watched King kid, and now he's a movie making genius. So like you just imagine like how much of that potential has been untapped, because they're too busy worrying about their pronouns and like juggling the sensitivities and the safe spaces that they need, and instead they could be putting all that good energy towards like making more movie
entertaining stuff. And this is the thing, like for us as adults, and we grew up in this age, and we shouldn't be spending our time worrying about this stuff from these governments. We shouldn't be worried about globalists. We shouldn't be worried about. We should be just like we should be allowed to allow ourselves to be entertained and enjoy life. But instead, we have to sit on the other side of the fence, and we have to like literally stop them because they've gone too far. You know,
Right.
They've gone too far with their agenda, and now and it's all sort of full frontal now. You know, and it's everything's on the line, and they've drawn the line in the sand now. And it would be fantastic. Just get rid of all this work. Just get rid of all of these globalist agendas. Get rid of trying to control. And let's go back to the good old days where we were creative beings. You know, we were creative, intelligent people, and we didn't need to go to school for that.
Right.
You know, we didn't need an education.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. I'm just going to sort of wind up my last little bit on that note. I think too that as adults today, we've just been unfortunate to arrive at an age and a time where we're charged with taking some responsibility for something that we didn't see because we obviously didn't change it sooner. And if we saw it, we ignored it because of the ease of lifestyle. You know, we're all guilty for contributing, not necessarily by complicity, but by naivety at the least. And it's wonderful that we can have this discussion, that guys like yourselves have taken on the technology and the opportunity to communicate to the rest of us and to invite us in to share in what is for all of us a trying time. And the child in me is well satiated because I'm old enough to have had my fun. I can stick down the glass of beer and I can forget about where I need to be at what party, and I can take the long walks I need to clear my head to figure out what the hell I'm going to do next to stop it continuing. And I think even though it's daunting, I'm really pleased. I'm really rapt actually to make it. A few of my friends didn't make it this far. They're not with us, and we all know that COVID's taking lives as we speak, and I've lost a couple of friends there. But we're still here, and it seems that at least the three of us here, I don't know who's listening or watching, but the three of us have got more than 3 brain cells between us. We're not stupid. We know exactly what's going on, and we are doing something. And even if it's only in putting our faces forward and letting our mouth relate what's inside here in a way that's helpful. So I thank you guys for letting me come on board, and I hope we'll talk again. And I've got an open Facebook page. I'll if you can, Rosie, let me know where you are, who you are, and that somehow through Jason, I'll be in contact and we can talk off this line, because there's a lot of things that are happening here in New Zealand, a lot of organisations and groups that are grassroots at the moment, but they're made up of very, very educated adults who are taking responsibility, and we're going to make a difference. So thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
A
Wonderful talking
positive
with
approach. A positive approach to everything. Thank you so much, Wayne, for joining us. I have dropped your photograph links. So it actually includes your Facebook address as well. So your Facebook account is there for people who can visit you there, find you there if they want to contact you on your Facebook. Yeah. And yeah, awesome. So great to have a very nice discussion, actually. Very nice one.
Yeah. I'll send you the link to the YouTube full clip of the demonstration as well. I don't know if you've seen the full clip or you've got it.
Not yet. Not yet. I'm not aware of your YouTube page. So if you send that to me, I'll also drop that in the links as well.
Yeah.
When I get it.
Okay.
All right. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm
You're
really
welcome, Rosie.
You. Yeah, of course. I will find you on Facebook, my friend.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Koneda.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Ka kite.
Ka kite, ne? Ka kite. That was Māori and Japanese at the same time. Ka kite, ne? Ne is Japanese. Ka kite is take care. Ka kite.
Takite.
Yeah, it's actually ka kite ano. You take care now. Yeah.
Kakite.
So yeah, so there you go. Wow, yeah, that was nice. Sorry that we obviously need to fix up. So yeah, we will need to fix up that timing issue about
Yeah.
the daylight savings ending. See, I actually mentioned this to you the other day. Like, yeah, I mean, because you mentioned something about the time. I was like, did you? Is there a time zone difference now? And yeah, oh,
No,
now we know.
I set it for the right time and everything, but yeah, with the daylight savings time and everything, there's obviously like another hour. So what time is it with you right now, or at your place?
So for us, it's a normal time. 11 o'clock. For you, it should have been 11 o'clock, but for you, it was 12 o'clock, was it?
What time is it at present for you? Is it 1 in
It's
the
almost 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, see, it's almost 1 o'clock now, so it's become a bit. There's another hour difference because I could always depend on you.
13.
12
Yeah.
hours ahead, so now you're 13 hours ahead. Okay,
Yes,
so
we'll have to try and go back to Wednesday so we can start. Well, yeah, we have to go and try and back to Wednesday so we can start earlier, a couple of hours earlier.
Yep, because right now it's
Yeah.
1 a.m.
Indeed. And thank you to everybody that's been looking into the comments. Let me just go through the comments again. I missed it the last time, so let me just do that before we wrap up today. A lot of good comments in here today.
Yep, nice to see you, Brian. Big Dice.
Okay, let's go through
Lily.
who Ronnie News Network. Thank you for stopping by. Okay. Yeah, he's going to help with gas. He's got come live with me. You want you to go live with him?
Dragon Classy Art. They
Yep,
popped in.
beautiful. Lily Bing.
Yep,
Lily Bing, thank you for dropping by. Dragon Classy Diamond Art. Hit the button. Hit the like button, everyone. Please subscribe and please leave a comment. And please, that's for she's promoting herself by the looks of it.
Yeah, Brian.
Lily Bing.
And there was Barb Ziegler earlier, and she said she had to go to bed, but she was here at the very beginning. I think she was the first comment saying that she was here for me. And it's good because I had a few people watching me for my 1 hour intro.
Lily Bing, not Lily Bing. Big Dice is back. Jason might be late, but take the win. I figured out how to get here. Got it, Jason. Yeah, it was just a time difference. It's a daylight savings
Right.
pulled it on us. But isn't it weird about my YouTube channel? I'm gonna have to log in. I didn't want to log in. I was on the guest account, but all week for 7 days and longer, 10 days. I've been doing the same search.
Yep, totally no problem. Yep. So
yep.
Even
but as soon as this live goes, they start messing with me again. So I've been subject to this for many years, since 2013 when I started this mission. So let's carry on. 613 is here. Yeah, Toronto has a CN Tower. Yeah, that was the one. Ticket with Dave. Ticket with Dave is here.
He popped in.
And
I love.
And Canada, you need to know, is here.
Yep.
Is here. And that's it for now. And me and you.
Yep.
So thank you very much, guys, for being loyal. Oh, Barb Ziegler, she's there. Hugs Judy. Hugs Barb. And yeah, and that's it for now. Oh, TY Guy 3D. TY Guy 3D is there. And Lily. Lily's last comment was, "That's great. Women competing against women."
Right.
Oh yeah.
What a thought. What an absolutely mind-blowing thought. Women competing against women. Wow. What's
revolutionary, isn't it? Revolutionary. What do they say? The truth is telling the truth becomes a revolutionary thing. Yeah, mind blown.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm ready to wrap it up. Bang on time. An hour for me.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm really glad you were on time. Apparently I needed a big 1 hour long-winded intro, but yeah, no, it was fun. I just kept looking at the clock going, oh, where are they? I was going to give you so much trouble. I was going to bug you for being so late. I was making excuses for you. I was saying, oh, well, he's finishing up his job. Maybe his car broke down. No, I didn't say that part, but I know that you said you were going to finish your shift at work, and then you were gonna be within a half hour. And so I was wondering why in the world you were being so late, but now we know.
Well, my
Just
background proves that I've moved.
Trudeau!
Yeah, my background proves that I've moved. So this is my new background. I have moved. I now live 5 minutes from my school where I work. So
This is
it
my
literally only takes me 5 minutes now.
Yeah, you guys won't be seeing this hopefully for long. It's very cold in here. But yeah, we rocked it. I think we rocked it. I mean, you can always go back and watch and tell me if my big long-winded intro was interesting.
Beautiful. Well, at least because we've both been really busy the last couple of weeks, so with things changing around. So it was good. You just needed to get your mojo going on for the first hour, so you got back in the saddle again.
That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah.
And I felt like there were people maybe watching that didn't know anything about, my story or kind of how we met, because of course you are the admin from the New Zealand group who invited me to come along and be admin along with you. So
absolutely, yep.
All
New
right,
Zealand
well,
Truckers Convoy 2022-Freedom on Facebook, everybody.
Absolutely.
And State of the Nation, New Zealand State of the Nation on Facebook.
Yeah, there's at least a dozen groups that I help you admin now.
Oh yeah, we've got quite a few groups now running. And the reason we have so many groups is because our initial first group just blew up in a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, it just blew up. And of course, now we're heavily monitored by Facebook, and the reach is lowered. So we kind of went crazy and just set up all these different groups so people could compartmentalize into something that they enjoy to learn about. And boom, they eventually end up moving over there. So if and ever that ever gets taken down, we've still got a substantial base on all these different groups, and we can still share the information we got. Plus, we get a lot of diversity now because all these different groups have different topics and subjects and different posters and different members. So it's not all the same, which is good. Diversity is good.
Stop us. We'll just make another 500 groups. Just try to stop us.
We won't be stopped at all.
Man. I don't mind being admin of another 500 groups.
Bring it on. Anyway, bring it on, FB. Bring it on.
Thank you, everyone who's still watching, and for everyone who will be watching, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. Don't forget to share, and also subscribe to State of the Nation. You're on BitChute, I believe.
Yep, I am on BitChute and let me just have a quick look. I'm just going to copy this over now. That is my link. Here's my link to my Facebook page. Dropping that in the chats now before we wrap up. Control V there, and I also have a BitChute. My BitChute channel has less subscribers, but it has a lot more views. And my YouTube channel has more subscribers but almost no views. It's kind of bizarre. It's really bizarre.
They're not showing up in the chat because I have to make you a moderator, and then you'll be able to drop all these links in the comments. But Jason, you're not a moderator yet, so if you comment underneath the actual video, oh no, you did comment in here, so I need to find your comment. Or can you comment again? I think.
Yeah. Here is my link.
No, it's still not showing up, but you as State of the Nation, I saw a comment of yours. And so I'm going to see, where was that? Sorry, guys, give us 2 seconds. I can do this afterwards too, but it's a matter of one of your comments. I just have to click on it and then make you a moderator. So, and then after that, yeah, we're laughing. Oh, I went back too far. Okay. Anyway, we will make sure that happens. Otherwise, yeah, we want to be able to share all these links and everything that we're talking about sharing, and and we don't want to be liars. If we say we're sharing something and then we're not sharing it, that makes us look bad.
That means every week I've been posting links for the viewers and no one's been seeing them. Okay, but yeah, you can just go to BitChute and just look up State of the Nation. You can go to You can Facebook, you can YouTube me at New Zealand State of the Nation, and you can just search Facebook NZ State of the Nation official hyphen NZ State of the Nation hyphen official. Okay.
All right. On that note, thank you, Jason, for hanging out and for everything you do. I always appreciate it. And thank you, everybody who's watched and will watch. Yeah, we appreciate you very much. And yeah, got a lot of love and affection for all of you. So couldn't be here. Well, we could be here doing this, but you know what? Having an audience like you guys, it just makes it obviously worthwhile and more meaningful. And you know what? You guys are honestly top notch. I wouldn't want for any other kind of audience, because you guys rock. So anyway, Jason, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, let's go back to doing this on a weekly basis, okay?
Yeah, sure, we can. Absolutely, no problem. We'll have to shift it to Wednesday to get over this state of the time zone change with the
state of the time zone change.
Yeah, we don't have that here in Vietnam. I haven't had that in Asia for yonks. Haven't had it for yonks, mate.
Yeah. That's the way it goes. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week. I'll get a calculator out, and we'll figure out what the proper time change is now, because it used to be 12 hours. Jason used to be exactly 12 hours ahead, and now he's, well, I don't need a calculator for 13, but the New Zealand time zone. I mean that like I can't even. My poor brain. It's especially since it's 1 a.m. Come on, guys, give me a break. And so anyway, thank you so much. And
everybody's commenting.
You guys, okay?
Yeah. All right, teddy bear.
All right, rubber ducky.
Have a trucking night. Have a trucking good night.
There's a couple that just pulled in here. It was really, I was kind of distracted because, you know, I do love the sound of those Jake break.
They might be having a trucking good time themselves.
Oh, trucking. All right. Take care, you guys. Have a wonderful evening or a day or afternoon, and we'll see you guys soon. Honk, honk.
Bye.
Bye.